Good morning. Welcome to Fallawsophy. I'm your host, Jennifer Fallaw-Doering, and today we've got Gentel from Monday. If you missed that show, we're going to review that. And then we have new Gentel today about the bond process and where we are now. Excuse the hair. I'm running behind. I watched Mark Z this morning. I was kind of messing around. And then I started getting information about this topic, and then all I had time to do is jump in the shower and just get it presentable real quick. So it is what it is. But I'm really excited. I've watched Mark C. I don't get it. I don't get every show, but sometimes there's this guy named Mr. C on there. And he's supposed to have some codes to put in to kick this thing off, the RV. And I don't know about the process. I'm ignorant to the whole thing. I can't tell you if the guy's legitimate or not, but I always wondered, it's questionable. Like, why would they put such an important job in the hands of one person and then allow him to go live? Allow him to be on shows? So I'm like, there's got to be more to it than that. And so that's what I asked about today. Let's find the... So I'm late today. I normally go live at 9. I know some of you are just on the tail end of your lunch and you jump in to get this. So let's get to it. So, wrong page. Okay. So Gentel for Monday on Real News Live with Mike Barra. You can go to Rumble, Real News Live with Mike and Jen, and view that show, because you always want to watch the show and not just read the written Gentel, because there's more explanation put out on it. This is Interdimensional Meditation by Jennifer Fallaw-Doering on the 6th level of heaven with Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Haniel for June 3rd, 2024. Hang on just one second. Okay, still dealing with the allergy thing. For the RV, I asked, when will we receive notifications to exchange? And Archangel Haniel said 4 days. This is on Monday. And he said, that is the plan. So current plan is Thursday, Friday, depending on if they count Monday. I said, how will we receive these notifications? And he actually said bursts of emails. So it's not just coming from one place. So, now these places that we subscribe to and think it's coming from them, they may just be passing on what's going out. So I wouldn't worry too much about not getting the emails. Okay. He said they were coming from lenders. Lenders is the term that he used. I assume banks, financial institutions will be sending these out. And then I saw a picture of what looked like no. And I asked him, because I saw a post going out about a military prison ship, and I could be wrong about this, but off the coast of South Carolina. And I said, was that accurate? And he said, no, that was an old post. Old picture. I said, will Donald Trump be put in jail for the convictions? He said, no, he will not. Good. I asked, will we hear the EBS and see the removal of current government judicial officials? He said, yes, September. And then after that, I heard the 21st. I really wish I knew how to turn these off, these notifications. I don't know if you're hearing that. In the news this week, we'll see news about trials, and I don't think it's Donald Trump. And Monday I got this. Monday morning. Stocks falling. We've already received Gentel that right after the show, they had some kind of situation where some stocks fell 99%, And when he told me that, I saw people rushing around, and he was saying something about um, rushing around trying to figure out what to do. That's Gentel confirmed already for yesterday. Biden kept hearing the word rush, so I don't know if it was additional information about the stocks or related to Biden. So question mark rush to the hospital for Biden. I also got a plane down. We would see a plane news about a plane down. Now, when I ask about in the news this week, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll be on the mainstream media. It just means that we'll see it in the news and in what we see. There's already been is if that was accurate information this morning, it came out that there was a plane that went down. I believe it was Turkey. So Gentel confirm on that. We've also in the news this week, we got called to arms by the public groups. Now, what I kind of received on that is that there are groups of individuals in the country who are starting what probably happened before the first American Revolution, was that, they're all sitting around saying, this is crap, and we're not going to take it anymore, and we're going to start organizing. I believe that's happening. It's not us. It's not me, but we may start to see information about militias, things like that, organizing in groups. Now, I don't know if these are the minions posing as patriots doing this or actual patriots doing this. We'll have to wait and see. So that was the Gentel for Monday morning, June 3rd. Today, I want to add into this. I saw this morning somebody put a post out about the boulevard rate. They put out, and I think I shared it. There was an audio about somebody saying that it was going to be like $36. It really doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, that would be great. That'd be great. But some people have like 1,000 of them. The 1 million boulevard. The rate that I originally got, and the information said, I don't know if there was a post with information and then there was an audio that went out. I think it's more likely someone was saying that it's showing up on the back screens now, or some screens now, at 36 cents. I originally said that it would be 0.375. And so for 1 million boulevard, it'd be 375,000. So I feel more confident about that rate. Still good. What you get it for, like $6 a million or something like that? Good return. Okay. And most people have a lot of them. And so it just doesn't make sense because of how low the value is to come up that high. It could be. I could be wrong. But that's pretty high, considering how many are out there. All right. So I was trying to understand this whole thing about the codes and the bond process and ask where we are now. And previous Gentel we got that the holdup was capital and that they had to cash in these German or these historic bonds to fund the RV. And I'm like, well, how does that even work, So this is Gentel for 6/4/24 today, Tuesday. And outside of meditation is basically me just talking to Gabriel. Like I would when I do a reading. I said, where are we now with the RV? He said historic bonds have been paid out to holders from private accounts. So he's kind of explaining in very simple terms to me how this works. Now, if I'm off and I'm wrong on this, then I'm off and I'm wrong on this. I'll tell you, I'm not familiar with the whole process. So, historic bonds have been paid out to holders from private accounts. Those bonds are then returned to the country of origin and paid from treasury accounts, private treasury accounts, to treasury accounts of the country that redeemed them. All right? I'll go over this again. These treasuries have what he called code masters. Probably a term so that I would understand. Okay. He said there are 4 code masters for the USA. When these people enter the codes, and I like it when I don't think something's possible and then he gives me information contradicting what I originally thought, because then that's, to me, that's like confirmation. That's okay. Well, I didn't put that in your mouth because of what I thought. So this is good. So these hidden treasuries have what he called code masters. He said there are 4 code masters for the USA. When these people enter the codes, the funds in the hidden treasury accounts become available. So there is truth there when it comes to codes. At this point in time, the historic bonds have been collected. Holders have money in private treasury accounts, and the capital to proceed with the RV is mostly all there. The wait now is for full funding from all the historic bond accounts from the countries of origin. So they did that. They give the people their money, the bondholders. Okay, here's your account, blah, blah, blah. Then they got to send these bonds back to the country of origin and get reimbursed for it somehow. And right now, that is almost like, a percentage of, like, what percentage would we have? That was like 98% complete. They're just waiting for the remaining transfer of funds from the countries of origin or the accounts that paid out for these bonds. Then the 4 people in the USA can enter the codes to release the funds on those private treasury accounts or that fund the RV. These people are waiting for the call to enter the codes. Estimation at this point in time, the plan is 2 days to complete the remaining funding transactions. Nobody screws it up. I'm pretty sure they could proceed, but they're waiting. When they sent out notifications is up to the readiness of staff and redemption locations. Any day now, could be Thursday. And yes, I did say that on Monday that it would be Thursday. 4 days. So we're still on course with that. I don't think anything major has happened to interrupt that process. And I'm hoping that makes sense. And I don't look like an idiot because I'm not knowledgeable about it, the whole thing. That's just what I got this morning. But it's looking good, people. It's looking good. And we haven't heard that bondholders have gotten paid. You're not going to hear that. It's going to have to be a pretty risky move to put that out if somebody's got a whole bunch of money just waiting to. They're not going to tell you that. I wouldn't tell you that. So Sue Rose, thank you again, Sue Rose, for being she's like my little angel secretary. She offered to type up my Gentel notes for me, and she does a wonderful job. And she will be typing these up and adding to it anything that she thinks is relevant, and we'll put that out on Telegram later. In the links of this show, you will find a link to my website, to my channel, Fallawsophy on Telegram, and to the Fallawsophy chat. And that's where you want to be. I mean, you want to be in Fallawsophy chat. You can ask any question about anything in that chat, and like 100 people tell you. So it's great. All you gotta, it's really the only place you need to be. Just scroll down the thing, and there's all the news of the day. Some really, really smart people in there. Okay, and I don't know how to turn. Are you hearing that dinging? Maybe I have it open. No? Still haven't figured out how to turn that off. I'll have to do that later. Okay, so rates. I mean, if you're disappointed that the Boulevard wouldn't be $36, and instead per million it's 375,000. I mean, most people have. I mean, you've been getting them from CBD gurus forever. I mean, most people have a lot of them. And if they're so cheap, there's a lot out there. And does that make sense to put that much money out for those? Okay, so here's the hierarchy of the accounts, all right? So we know from previous Gentel, the way it was explained to me, and it could be wrong, but this is how it was explained to me, is that when you go into your RV redemption exchange appointment, they will calculate your exchange, your redemption, according to the US dollar and the rate that the US dollar is at that moment in time, I believe. Then they will put it into a treasury account. Now I don't know clearly. I guess the treasury holds accounts, because of the information we just got. I originally thought that, and then I started thinking, well, maybe it's just classified that way and backed by the treasury, but it's with the big bank. But I think it's too much money to be with a big bank, but I don't know. So you've got your treasury account. That's why it's safe. That's why if the banks crash, it's not going to take your money. They put that fiat dollar amount in that treasury account in the new in gold-backed dollars amount, okay? So let's say you got like $1.269 billion, it'd be 47 million in that treasury account. But it's notes. Then you pair up with a big bank so that you can transfer money out of that account into a large account, which I call the holding account. All right, so that account, until such time as we go to notes, to gold, when you transfer money out of the treasury account, it will go into the holding account with a big bank in US dollars. Then from there, you can transfer it into other accounts, other banks, whatever. Because of this, I don't believe the banks are going to fail. There may be branches. There may be some kind of delay when we go to gold. There may be some kind of panic that has to be there to encourage the public that, yes, it's a good idea and we have to do this right now. We have to go to gold. So you want to keep cash in the house. But I originally saw that when it came back up, everything was there. And then it was one of the first things they did to ensure that this didn't happen, because you can't have an RV with a treasury account and nowhere to pull it out of and put it. Well, there still will be banks. So, if that is true, to remember what my point was. And if the bonds I don't know how the bonds are calculated. Okay. But if the bonds are put into treasury accounts when they're paid to the bond holders for the United States, let's just say for the United States, the treasury can not hold fiat dollars for some reason. So you get paid gold. Let's just make it simple. Get paid gold for your bonds and gold backed currency. You go into so we have to have gold in there to pay out the currency and for tier 4B, right? And if that is true, and we do get a treasury account and we have gold backed currency in the treasury account, that's why you get the 1%. There's no delay in moving the funds. The big banks are going to say, okay, we know you got this money. We're going to give you 1% because you have so much money now. And we're going to put it into this holding account. You can play with that until such time as the country goes to gold. That's why you sign an NDA, because they'll probably tell you, they'll say, well, how much time? Like 10 years? How much do I have to make this? Can do 2%? And they'll probably tell you, no, this is the estimated timeline. It's 90 days. Okay, well, we got a 90-day NDA. And we're going to play around with these fiat dollars. And it's like an advance or a loan. It's not like a payment loan. Okay. And then when the country goes to gold, you can have full access and pull that money out of the treasury account into your bank accounts in notes. So they redeem for gold, we exchange for gold, we get down to tier 4B, we do the currencies and everything else for gold. The rest of the world, then we wait for the rest of the world and the United States to go to gold. Well, actually, technically, I think the countries that have signed up for BRICS, I think that's what allows them to pay you in the gold. Okay. So gold, wait. Loan. Everybody's happy anyway, because you're going to get, like, I don't know. I think, what is it? Like, if you had $1 billion, you get like $10 million. I think we can survive for 90 days on $10 million. When the U.S. goes to gold, that's when we see the debt jubilee. Okay, I'm not sure if it's the end of the exchange. So the United States will have they must have like a 90-day exchange period. So probably right after the RV, will probably go to gold, or the announcement will go out. And there's probably be chaos leading up to justify that. But I believe if we're exchanging for gold, we're behind the scenes too. And that's why I think you're not going to see a public rate, a substantial public rate, from like Iraq and Vietnam and all that stuff, in the public or in country till the end of the exchange process. And that's when they do that, it's going to crash the dollar. And that's when everybody's going to panic and they're saying, oh, we have to go to gold. All right. Well, and, it's so stupid. It's like when they do that, everybody like, oh, let's go to gold. And then like the United States, oh, yes, we'll flip the switch and we'll go to gold. There it is. Oh, you just happen to have it all printed in place and everybody knows what to do, right? So what they'll do is they'll say, well, we've got this 90-day exchange process, and during that time we'll train everybody and we'll tell everybody what to do, and everybody can turn in their fiat, and they'll your bank accounts will be in notes now, and you'll have 2 prices for everything, and at the end of that date they'll say, oh, now we're completely gone to gold. Well, the problem with that is when you have loans and contracts and anything that has US dollar wording in it, and you no longer have US dollars. How do you pay that back? And I don't know if anybody's going to try to pull something and say, well, you know what? Why don't you just sign this paper here and say that you'll pay us back in this amount in notes? I don't think they can really do that, because if you change anything, like when you refinance a house, you change anything, you have to go through the whole loan process and the signatures and everything and agree to everything all over again. So if anybody sends you anything to agree to anything, I just put that on the desk and wait on it and just say, well, no, I'm not going to do that. See what happens. Because for us, we'll have like $10 million in the bank or something like that, and that would be really cool. So, review. Historic bonds are paid out and have been paid out to holders from private accounts. Those bonds are then returned to the country of origin and paid from treasury accounts to treasury accounts of the country that redeemed them. These hidden treasury accounts have what he called code masters. He said there are 4 code masters for the USA. And that's what it took me the most time, is to try to figure out if he was talking about for the USA or for the whole, the whole world. Pretty sure it's USA. And that makes logical sense, because if you're going to put such an important project and such an important task in the hands of one man, how easy would it be to sabotage that? And there may be one man who thinks they're the one man, and they have no idea about the others. That's what I would do. Anyway, so yes, there are code masters. I don't know what everybody else calls them. I'm not looking at the chat, and I've got the stupid glasses on where I can't read it. We'll just call them that for today, because it's cool. Sounds pretty cool. And if that is what they are actually called, then that's pretty good, because I didn't know that. So when these people enter the codes, the funds in the hidden treasury accounts become available. So there is truth when it comes to the codes. At this point in time, the historic bonds have been collected. Holders have money in private treasury accounts, and the capital to proceed with the RV is mostly all there, 98%, waiting for a couple days for a few transactions to complete for full funding. And then the 4 people can enter the codes to release the funds, and they're usable, movable. But if it's all gold-backed funds, it's all going to be behind the scenes. And then we step into the behind the scenes world personally when we do this. I'm excited. I mean, I haven't gotten anything negative, and I have come out here and told you when there would be a delay. Walk in here, people throwing tomatoes and stuff at me, and I say, nope, it's going to be 2 weeks. I'm not afraid to do that. I don't get anything negative. So we're still on target, and that is good news for today. Go ahead and share this show. I don't think to anybody that may be losing faith. Now let's see what everybody's saying about what I got today. Just repost your comments if you have something to say about that. If I'm wrong, if I'm right, if I'm off. All good? Scott says all God? Good? All good is all God. Yeah, lots of people excited. Oh my goodness, Mr. Scott. I did not do that. Let me go look. Can I do that now? Can I read it now? Scott, tell me if I can read it now. I can find it. Looking for an app. Hang on. There it is. Okay, not live. No, I'll do that later. Damn it. Why'd you tell me that? I'll have to wait. I do it anyway. But I'm not gonna what the hell? There's so many people sending me stuff on here. All right, this is a I'm gonna have to do that later, Scott. Okay, we'll do that later. It's only 1 minute, but you told me not to do it on the air. All right, Scott, you're interrupting the show with this. If I can't pass it on, then I can't do it right now. All right. Oh, good. Well, there we go. That's always good. Thank you, God. Because you never know if you're coming out here and making an ass out of yourself about something you don't understand. It's like, have faith, just go out there and spit it out. And it's like us psychics, prophets, whatever you want to call us. You just never know. And you have to just spit out what you get and try not to overthink it too much. Because if you overthink it, you get it wrong because you get in the way. And that is the whole challenge of receiving information, is because it's always going to come through your mind, your human filters, and you can easily put words in their mouth and get in the way. And it just takes experience and practice to understand what is divine guidance and what is from you. And that's why it's so hard to get personal information, because there's things that you can handle and can't handle and want and don't want and all this stuff. And so it gets kind of complicated. But most of the time, if you just spit out what you get, that's when things are mostly right. Oh, the house after the RV, Scott. Good possibility for that. I think the owner wants too much. All right, let's look at this. Okay, I heard 18 months ago that one of the channels that the dong will be 20% cheaper than the dinar. If the dinar is 16, the dong could be 12.8. It could. That's not what I got a couple years ago. I heard 4.29. Now, if that's changed over time, I keep asking, still get the same thing. Still good. I mean, really good. Okay. Oh, they're talking. All right. Let's go back and see if we got anything else on this subject. Any questions on this subject? Any questions about rates? Any questions about anything political going on right now that I haven't addressed? That's cool. Especially if you didn't hear it, like on Facebook, on a video. New Eyes says they woke up to songs playing in their head. The latest, "Don't Stop Believing." That happens to me often. Especially if you didn't hear it the day before or something like that. When you just woke up and it's just kind of, I don't know if a lot of you people do that, but I do. Song playing in your head. Um, I'd say that would be a message if you had not heard that anywhere recently. But that's a tricky one because you can hear it in the background at the store, you could hear it on a commercial, you could hear it on a video on Facebook, something like that. So make sure, take a look back. And if it wasn't something that you heard recently, that's a message. Definitely. It's a voicemail. I know I want to listen to it, Scott, but I'm live. Uh, will Israel be forced to establish a Palestinian state? No. Okay, now they're moving. That I don't know. That I have not asked. Originally, I got was silver. What I originally got about silver was that this year it would go up to about 60 or $70. But it's next year when it really goes up. And that is because of contracts. However you want to figure that out, go ahead. But that's what I got. So yeah, silver is a good thing to have. It is a good thing to accumulate. It's a good thing to move your money into. Of course, gold. Because the world's going to gold, it's going to. That's what's really going to increase its value, the gold. Is that everybody's going to have to be backing their currency in our country as well, with other things too. The interesting part was when I got that the world would back their currencies with precious metals, gold, silver, and all that, and minerals. Didn't make any sense, did it? Then we saw some posts that somewhere in the United States they found, was it Wyoming? Huge mineral deposits. That's exciting. And why wouldn't we have mineral deposits? I mean, isn't that what we count on China for? Why do we count on China for that? Probably because they've been not allowing people to dig for or mine mineral deposits. I don't know. Probably. All right. Time is it? Okay. So change the banner here. Think about it. You're going to have banks, and you're going to have credit cards, even after we go to gold. Um, the world of commerce business is a very intricate spider web across the globe. What are you going to walk in and pay cash? You're going to send all your employees out who had credit card expense accounts or buyers or whatever it is all over the world with an ATM card? No. Credit cards will survive. Banks will survive because they have to. It's not just about you as a person in your family having a credit card because you can't afford to get whatever, to buy a new fridge and you put it on the card. It's not about that. It's about ease of payment. Um, there will still be credit cards, but they will not have this, crippling interest attached to them. It's probably like a fee. I think we're moving over into, with banking, um, the sale of houses, things like that. Mortgages, you're not going to have compound interest, is what's illegal, I believe. So I think they're just going to charge flat fees on things. Not really sure. But I do know that there will be a point in time where your credit card is zeroed out and you are reimbursed for the fraudulent interest that was charged. But I do think that account will still be open because it would be a big problem for business across the world and their employees to not have that expense account, to not be able to put things, to keep track of the expenses and stuff. You can't just like have this giant, okay, now we're going to open up expense accounts, bank accounts for every employee and put a certain amount of money in there and say, okay, we'll only use this much. That's not going to work. You have to keep track and verify purchases. So there will still be cards. There will still be banks because they need to hold the money and we need to be able to move it around. I mean, some people say, oh, well, we're just going to go to cash and all the banks are going to go down and the central banks are going to go down. No more credit cards, no more bank. That is not progress. That would be a huge problem. And that is something that they worked very hard and long on to make sure that the world still keeps turning. So that will still be there. It will just be different terms. And they'll be fair. They'll be... so how does that happen so fast? Well, I don't know. But I think that, again, when you go to gold and any legislation, any laws, any terms, anything that you'd probably have to agree to new terms or maybe even start up a new account. I don't know. But you'll probably receive something to agree to new terms on a credit card, and be sure you read it. It just doesn't make sense. That would be a step back. Most businesses would go under. I mean, how many businesses buy things from other countries and send people out to do work or just across country and everything? You're just going to hand everybody cash? No, can't do that. So the world will keep turning. I think anything that like legislation, contracts, anything that has a dollar wording in it, any legislation that is illegal outside or worded with the dollar in it would be null and void. So you're going to have to take out the ruling powers and get new ones in to enforce that. So they would have to take everybody out of office, right? And then have a period of time, let's say 90-day exchange period, to inform the public and educate the public on what the laws are now. See, it's such a complicated process, like. So that's probably why they hit the financial first, so they could do all that and get everybody on the same page. And they'll go over all the other areas of society. So we're going to have a period of time where we're in this limbo and this changeover where we've got two sets of rules, two prices, two everything until such time as that is complete. So it's going to be an interesting summer if it all starts now. But I'm pretty sure that our Tier 4B is behind the scenes as well. And we get that part of it complete. Because it's important. There's something important about pulling these currencies back into the country of origin and the bonds back into the country of origin and all that. Then we can do the switch, make the announcements. So I think it's game on. I call game on. And how exciting is that? That is exciting. All right, so in the news this week, we're still looking for trials. Still looking for something on Biden. Possibly rushed to the hospital. Question mark on that one. We got the plane down and we got the stocks falling. And the call to arms by the public. That's interesting. That one may be more than we may just start hearing about that this week, but that's something that's brewing. And I'm sure the White Hats are aware of it. You know how they keep track of people. They really know what's going on. And they know that we got to do this. We got to get this done now. Otherwise, what could happen are those groups of people are going to go out and mix with the minion groups or posing as us, and it's going to be chaos. And then they got their civil war that they wanted. We can't let that happen. Can't get into Fallawsophy chat. Well, you can follow the channel. I don't know why you can't get into Fallawsophy chat. I put the link up. But you can join the channel and then send me a private message and I can send you the link. Or you can comment. Other people can invite you. Do that. Just do that. Wish I could read this. Oh, Trump? I just have not been able to get that. I always saw that there would be an in-between time where the military's in control, and maybe they are, like when we finish our redemption period, they post a rate in Iraq, the dollar crashes, oh my God, what are we going to do? Everything's going to shit, and then, they say, okay, military's taking over, everybody's trying to, everything's going to crap. And then Grassley steps in. I always thought Grassley, I don't even know, I haven't heard anything about Grassley lately. But this plan from day one, you've got your main highway, just like your life. In your life, you've got the golden road, right? The main objectives to accomplish on your mission or your journey. And along that road, we've got all these side roads that intertwine with the main highway. And sometimes we choose to take a side road and then it delays our process, but we always end up getting back to the golden highway. Okay? Because that's where our main objectives are. And sometimes you take a side road and you end up in the freaking mountains and, with hillbillies and everything else, and you lost and you're like, how the hell did I get here? And that's where your guides and angels, I don't know, but let's just follow this road and we'll get back, okay? And then you're back on the highway and you're like, well, thank you very much. I believe that this plan by the White Hats, there are specific objectives, flags to capture, things to achieve. that are on that golden road, but I believe there's been many side roads, and it doesn't make sense. But it had to be a moving plan because when you're traveling on that highway, you just never know what's going to run out in front of the car, or be chasing you. But somehow I believe that we've gotten back to now the main highway, and we're working on the main objectives. And I do think that Q posts, that people should probably go back through that, because now that there's certain times along this journey where they were relevant. It was a good time to look at them, and I think now is a good time. Again, if you're looking for any kind of reassurance, but they're confusing and frustrating. Oh, and the other day I was thinking, okay, so who has a script? Like, who's the script holder for the plan? It's like everybody's got their mission, they've got their task to accomplish, they've got their part, and that's the only thing they know is their part. Who's got the whole script? The Alliance? Maybe Trump? Xi? Putin? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Anyhow, that's all I really have for today. Do remember, well, yes, God's got everybody's script. I'm talking about this plan to save the world. It is, really. Well, of course, God has those. Yeah, everybody's saying God. Well, of course. Of course. I'm talking about which humans got the script. And it's baffling. It really is baffling how intricate and this whole operation has been. But it's kind of like your life. It's kind of like when you plan a life to come here. There's got to be room to improvise. And if you have free will and choices, there will always be room for that. Get that off the screen. All right. That's kind of like it is. This plan is kind of like the same as your individual lives. You just never know what you're going to get hit with when you come around the corner. And then there's choices along the way. But I do think we are now finally making progress. There were a lot of side roads that had to be taken. And that delays it. But I think we're back on the main highway now, and I don't see anything happening to screw it up. But keep your eyes open. Critical times. Very critical. Madness for humanitarians. Medbeds. They're a real thing. And I didn't think they were. But a few years ago, somebody actually asked me, she's asked me something about General Dynamics. We were talking about that. And then she says, are these med beds a real thing? And so I looked. And I saw probably like 200 of the things, just an estimation, in this huge warehouse abroad. I don't know exactly where it was, but somewhere over in Europe. And the information I got is that they were confiscated. And this gets way out there. That they were confiscated from the cabal and had to be recalibrated for the average human's DNA and vibrational spectrum. And so those of you coming to me saying, well, I want to get my mom in a med bed, but she's so negative and she's been in pain for years. Well, you'd be negative too if you were in pain for years, and God knows why. Okay? And when somebody is sick and hurting, their vibration falls, but your vibration usually stays within a certain spectrum to be incarnated in this dimension. And so what I got about these med beds is that whoever had them didn't vibrate within that spectrum and weren't fully human with their DNA. Interesting. And so they had to recalibrate them and work on them and get them to be able to use them for humans, the average human. So don't worry about if a loved one of yours is where their vibration is at, because there's no scale. I mean, there's no chart that we can, there's no prick your finger test where you can find out where your vibration is at. Okay? And if you're going to be a humanitarian, you really have to be more empathetic to why a person is the way they are and not judge them. Now, if somebody's coming out and they're telling it, well, even if they have mental illness, I mean, a lot of times when people are terribly negative and they're like dark and all this stuff, they're mentally ill. God knows that. No, maybe they could be helped. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the vibration. Are we going to fit in? That's a cabal concept. I hate that. Like this RV, somebody came out and said, well, you're going to be scanned, and if you're not good enough, then you don't get to exchange the foreign currency that you hold in your hand that you paid good money for. Like, crap. Like, how would I even know? My wives walk in and all the husbands got to sit in the car because they couldn't make it through the scanner. I'm just kidding. Couldn't make it through the scanner. What if you got a teenager with you? You're screwed then. Reminds me of all the jokes in the 80s about getting to the gates of heaven. There's so many jokes. There used to be so many jokes. People didn't take anything seriously, so that was cool. No, don't worry about your vibration. Do the best you can. Most of you, perfectly fine. Now, if something is of tries to get into a med bed and is like reptilian DNA and like eats people, probably not going to work for them. Okay? But I doubt that's going to happen. So they made adjustments to those. They are real. I see, and I've seen for most people as of this moment in time that we're looking at a rollout in later 25 for that. And that was for people to make appointments just like off the street. Whether they pull people who get a free pass in earlier. And so then there's going to be a waiting period. And so that might be the waiting period. Because they're going to ask you, well, what do you have? And they're going to put people, let's say, well, I got arthritis and I want to look younger, and I got stomach problems, and I want to grow more hair. They're going to say, all right, we're going to put you over here. You're going to get a later appointment because we're going to put the serious cases at this location ahead of you. So that may happen. But it's real. Now, whether you walk in like 85 and walk out 35, probably not. Just from what I know about what happens with the body when you do divine healings. Sometimes it's an accelerated healing process, but it can only go as fast as the body can handle. That part I don't know. I think you probably go in there, they fix everything that's wrong, and then over time your body starts functioning correctly, like it did when you were younger, and the collagen under the skin starts regenerating, and the elasticity in the skin and the pigment in the hair, and the hair starts growing again, and over time you start to look younger and younger. That's what I think happens. All right, guys, I gotta get going. Didn't get to many questions today. We'll get to more on Tell the Truth Wednesday tomorrow with Mike Barra on Real News Live with Mike and Jen on Rumble. You guys want to go over there, subscribe, because we moved to an actual channel over there, and that's where you need to be viewing it. And those are the links that we'll be putting out from now on. So it's not complicated. I started up Rumble. It will not connect to my streaming service. It's a pain in the ass and very frustrating every time I try to do it. But I think that's the problem too, is that it was a personal account for Fallawsophy and not set up as a channel. I mean, I do have a Beacon of Light Radio set up as a channel. But I think my partner did that a long time ago. I didn't do that. I don't know how that happened. So I'm going to set that up, and one day, the only thing I don't know how, maybe I'll just have to get the comments from my phone. That's what I'll do. All right, so one day I'm gonna be streaming from Rumble too. I just have to get the time to come in here to mess around with it, and with me, anything with the computer, I can do it. It takes a while. All right, there's a lot of cussing involved, but so it's kind of like a lump in my throat to say, okay, today for this block of time, I'm going to go into the office and get really pissed off and try to do this now. That's why I haven't done it yet. What the heck? It is, isn't it? I don't like that at all. Sue Rose just said that she just noticed that Thursday is 666. I was raised Catholic. I mean, I've received the sacraments full blown, all right? And I just can't stand. And I when I do the meditations and it's the 6th level of heaven, I did not like it when they told me that. I was like, can we go to 5? I mean, like, I don't like anything number 6. And then I think about, like, well, what if I get into the redemption appointment? I get like $666 million. Like, what are you going to do then? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what I would do. I'd do something. Like, if I get into the store and, like, buy a few things and it's like, that's the number, I'll buy something else. Just so I don't have that number. I didn't even think about that. But wouldn't that be the ultimate slap in the face to all those terrible Satanists who have, like, overrun the entire world and imprisoned us in their financial system? That really would. And, yeah, that's exactly what she said, and I didn't read it all. It'd be an ideal time for the White Hats to use the DS's satanic date against them. Yes, it would. Let's do that. Let's do that. All right. Deal? Let's do Thursday. Okay, guys. Self-promotion. I should really do this in the beginning so people don't drop off. Oh my gosh. And, like, on my screen right now, it says 424. Another story. I'll do self-promotion, I'll tell you another story. Okay, and then we'll go. So I'm running out of time. Go to jenniferfallaw.com right now. You can get all of my classes. Psychic development, interdimensional meditation. You go and get your own answers, your own healing, meet up with your loved ones and your pets that passed away, sit and talk to Jesus, see them. It's like stepping into a dream. Increase your ability to recognize and receive divine guidance. And that's the way I teach it. It's always going to be God-centered. I don't mess around. I'm a seer. I see the good guys, but I've also seen the bad guys. It's very important you keep everything God-centered, okay? Okay, the story. You can get my classes for $199, and the healings are on sale. Go to jenniferfallaw.com. Mommy has bills to pay. Thank you. All right, let's get back to the story. Now what was I going to tell a story about? God, damn dementia. I just did it. That happens to me. Oh my God. What the hell was I talking about? You guys, tell me what I was talking about. It's totally gone. Oh, Forge 4. Okay. So, years ago, I think it's hereditary. It's either dementia or menopause. But my dad used to do that all the time. Just, he'd forget about something he was just going to tell you. And then 5 minutes later, he called me and said, this is what I was going to say. So 424. Okay, so years ago, I used to dream of the lottery. With my first husband, he had a gambling problem. He stressed me the hell out. Everybody was babies, and I was always running around just trying to make sure that the bills were paid and we kept a roof over our head. And then he died. But I loved him, don't get me wrong. So during that time, I would dream about the lottery. I dream about winning the lottery because it was a nice distraction from life, and that's all it really was for me. Didn't play it very often, but I would dream about that. Interesting. Then when I met, fast forward, 2014, widowed for 7 years, I met Brett. And I told him how I would dream about the lottery, and then he started dreaming about the lottery. And then one day early on, he said, quick, because I told him I was psychic. That was one thing. Like, I'm like, oh, and by the way, I talk to angels and go into meditation. I'm like, yeah, he's going to be gone as soon as I tell him. He believed me. So he hit me with a, quick, how much are we going to win on the lottery? I'm like, 424 million. And so forevermore, the number has been 424. And I relate that to, well, he, of course, is stuck on the lottery and like hell-bent on winning the lottery before IRB so he can be right. I'm like, dude, who cares where it's coming from? But 424 for me has meant that big windfall of abundance where you don't have to worry anymore. You don't have to struggle anymore. And you want something, you get it, and you live in pretty places and you help the kids out. And it's just fun. You're able to have fun. 424. So whenever I see 424, it's kind of like a sign for me that is coming. And then I just told you all this. And of course, it's a Tuesday morning. We don't have lots of viewers. We have more viewers than show up on my screen. But I look up after I told you all that. And what's the number? It keeps moving, but 424. That'll be our code. That should be our code. I don't think we need a code, for notifications or anything, because we'll all know, but like, maybe that could be our code, like if we made our appointment 424. That'd be cool. Anyway, so that's the story about 424. 424 million. And he's held me to that amount all these years. And I'm like, dude, you just asked me when we were getting together, and just like, it was real quick and I just spit it out. But you never know. You never know. I went to Michael one time in meditation, and I'm like, this lottery dream of mine, does it have any value? I mean, in one way or another. This was years ago. And he said, and he smiled and he kind of giggled, and he's like, it'll be bigger than you ever imagined. And at the time, I'm like, well, I can imagine a lot. All right, I could imagine a lot of money. But this really is bigger than we ever imagined, isn't it? Never imagined I would buy currencies. I don't do that. I don't invest in silver. I don't invest in. I'm task at hand. I'm like, all right, how much we got? How much we need? What are we doing now? What do we got to save for? I don't do that. And then one day it was like, ding, I think I'll buy some. Just totally out of character for me. I think it's coming. I really do. I really do. And if it does happen this way, I think I'm in for getting a lot more than 424. But wouldn't that be cool? If it was 424 million, that would be cool. That would be really cool. That's a cool story. But it is more than we ever imagined. It's not just that. It's not just the RV. It's everything. Eventually, with the rollout, cleaning up our society, and for us and our children, our grandchildren, on and on. It's gonna be great. So be happy. We made it through the side roads, and I think we're on the main road now, and I think it's coming. So count it all up. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through the container. I'm going to count it all up again because I just bought some more. Like, I was thinking, well, I'll just buy a little bit more. Dong. And it's coming. But, go over your list. Make sure everything is, because you're going to be nervous when you get in there. Okay? So you're going to want to have a list. I've got this, this, and that, especially just to read off to make the appointment, Got this, and that. Have it all organized. And you probably already do, but do it again. And be ready. Okay? You guys have a great day. Thank you for watching me. Thank you for listening to me. Please share this show. Please like it. And I'll get this typed up Gentel out there so that you guys can share it on Telegram. All right? Thanks so much.